Hello and welcome to the talk to you in partnership with Nailcoat tonight, CJH87, and I am joined by Jordan. Very wet Melbourne, Australia, Jordan, and looks like we could have.
Yeah, good evening everyone. Yeah, unexpected really rain for Melbourne. You think of Australia, you think it's nice and dry really, don't you? And anything can happen at this point. Anything can happen around this 3.2 mile circuit.
Absolutely, and it is absolutely chucking it down at the moment in this qualifying, and it's going to be pretty treacherous for the drivers. It's a pretty difficult circuit anyway. For the drivers, if it was dry, which it is for the race, for anyone wondering. This rain will ease up by the time the lights go out for the race. And Jordan, you know a lot about circuits. Talk to me. What are the difficult parts on this Albert Park circuit? Is it kind of it's a blend of everything, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously, being a street circuit, you've got the painted white lines you've got to be careful of, especially in the wet at the moment. Just a little note, Željko Jablec out on intermediate tyres, so taking a bit of a flyer early on. See how that one works out for him. I mean, in reality, where is the danger spots in the circuit? You've got to say it's the turn 9-10 chicane. That is one of them, and then the turn 11-12 chicane. That section there, in Sector 2, that is where your issues are going to come, because you've got that really horrible traction zone out of turn 9 onto Lakeside Drive, and then that really fast turn 11-12 chicane, where if you clip the curb, you're very much in trouble.
Absolutely. I mean, there's been plenty of drivers struggling over the years with league racing around this circuit because of that quick right-hander, like you say, at that. Drivers going for it straight away, and we have actually lost a car. It's one of the Alpines, I believe. If I am correct, it might be a Red Bull. It's obviously the different shades of blue. It's quite hard to tell when it's a car that's retired. But we did lose him at this turn 3, I think.
That is one of the new drivers, I think read, otherwise known as Stan is what we're going to call him, that's his name, in the Williams, I believe that is.
Yeah, so not a great start for him at all, but Željko Jablec is on a lap at the moment on those intermediate tyres, so I'm just having a look at what he can do on these inters. It doesn't look like intermediate conditions, that is for sure, Jordan. It's absolutely chucking it down as Russman sets the first lap of the session.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't say it's intermediate conditions, however, if you can get away with it, there's a lot of time to be had here, and it's one of those brave choices. I mean, you've got a lot of time in the session. Hopefully the rain doesn't build up too much on the circuit. That if need be, he can get a wet set of tyres and get a time in. But it's one of those things that if you take the fly and it works, he could land himself on pole position for the Grand Prix. Absolutely,
as the Ferrari man Wojtek 94 sets a new fast lap of the session, and a couple more times are coming in now, but we're going to see where this Mercedes, where can he go? He looks a little bit hesitant through that final corner. I don't know if he's going to set it up for another shot at flying lap, but here we go. He's coming up to the line now, and he's P4. It's not too bad. It's a good few seconds off the fastest time, but I think, yeah, if he starts around that position, he probably would take that at the moment, but we will see how the weather goes, Jordan.
You could tell just through those last couple of corners he was just struggling to find that grip, really struggling to put the traction down, and it's definitely lost him a little bit of time. I'm just having a look back. I'm looking at Stephen.
He's invalidated his lap, yeah.
But more curious about that final corner, because you could tell Željko was really feathering that throttle. Stephen was feathering it a little bit, but definitely not as much. So definitely more grip on those wet tyres right now.
Absolutely, you can tell it's torrential rain here in Melbourne. It is pretty awful stuff. As Steele has gone second in the other Mercedes, so he has managed to find the sweet spot on those wet tyres. But we're just trying to see. We've got the current pole man Wojtek coming around the final corner now, coming up to the line on the wet tyres. just looks so scrappy in these conditions, and he does back off a little bit before the line, and he's only a little bit off actually, so I wonder why Jordan he did back off there, because he was only just under 2/10 off, improving on his time, but he seriously lifted before the line there.
Again, it could be anything. I mean, as Nitro goes into pole position now with a 36.7, that's a great time for the McLaren. Yeah, it could be anything really. I mean, coming out of that corner, if he's had a slight twitch on the exit, he may just think, you know what, let's just not bury the car in the wall, take it back to the garage, get a new set of boots, and live to go for another run.
Absolutely, and I just saw there, Zelko Jablic was going in the pits there, and was so hesitant on those intermediate tyres. I mean, he almost touched the pit lane wall. So it's definitely not intermediates. I think we can pretty confidently say that at the moment. I don't know if these conditions will dry. Well, not dry. They won't dry up, but ease, should I say, in the rain before the end of this session. But at the moment, it's definitely just looking like it'll be wet tyres until the end. But a couple of cars now coming into the pits, like you say, Jordan, just trying to make their way back and recharge everything, get a fresh set of tyres on, and get the fuel back in the car. But there are a few cars still out there. I can see. I'm just going to have to try and find someone, Jordan, who is on a flying lap.
Yeah, I was just watching Steven 002. He'd set a 42.1 and he had a massive slide out of turn 2, very nicely car controlled, but definitely not a good start to another flying lap as Nitro. Yeah, 36.3, he's finding grip from nowhere.
Absolutely.
So that's a lot of time in the wet, half a second.
Absolutely. I tell you, someone who's not finding speed in the wet is Towley. He is all over the place, and he's actually just clipped the wall. Coming down into... I'm not actually too sure what corner that is, but he's now onto the gravel, and that Alfa Romeo is in a pretty dire state, that is for sure.
Yeah, that Alfa Romeo though, we found out last week, it was built like a Nokia phone. He had a massive accident in Argos and only ripped the wing off. So that thing tends to take a lot of damage before it decides to break. But I think everyone's just in that little quiet period now. They're either in the pits, getting ready, or they're on an out lap, or they've just finished a set of quick laps, because in reality you've only got 2 to 3 laps on these tyres before they not necessarily cry, but they're definitely past their best.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Jordan, but we have Sir Spud out of this qualifying session. I was literally running on board with it. He completely lost it through that final corner, had no grip at all, and that is a bit of a bizarre place to find yourself in the barrier, and be quite off-putting, I would imagine, Jordan, for any of the other drivers. You're coming through that final bend there, and you're going to just come to a car spread across the circuit.
Yeah, not the ideal situation. Not entirely uncommon though, as because you've got that curb on the inside again. With this year's game, 2021 is a lot harsher when you clip the curbs.
Yes, absolutely. And
I don't know if you want to run with a lap with JSP, because he's just starting to fly it.
Yeah, here we go. Let's ride on board with him. He's got a car coming out the pits there, nicely gets out of the way, just perfectly clips that inside curb, and then just carries the speed, just feathers the throttle out of that first corner, so then you can maintain the speed all the way down into turn 3. Got to take a nice wide line here, try not to get too much curb because of these wet conditions, but this is the tricky one right here. This next left-hand corner, he does it perfectly. Do not want to lose the back end, don't want to take too much curb there, but he gets away with it, because in the dry conditions you can even lose the back end and spin off. Nice little line there through that right-hander, but it wasn't too aggressive. This seems like quite a cautious lap so far. First heavy braking point for most of the lap so far, especially in these conditions, and he gets it pretty much spot on. Now is the tricky section of the lap. This S section here. He's got to get close to the wall and attack this first corner. It seems okay, and then it's that corner there. You can very easily lose the back end and find yourself in the barrier. Only a couple more corners to go on the rest of the lap, but he's just got to cut the apex perfectly there. Very nice. A little bit of a slide on the exit, but he will get away with that. A fifth gear corner there. I'm not quite sure that was right there. Probably should have took it in fourth, but again, it seems nice and cautious, and it looks like a bit of a banker lap. Now, round the final corner, we've just seen a Red Bull go off here. It's nice and smooth from JSP, and he's going to come charging up to the line now. Where is this going to put him? P7. Not a bad lap. Very close to P6.
Yeah, worth noting though, the intermediate tyres starting to come into effect now. Zelko puts in the 36.3, and there's a lot of cars now on that intermediate tyre, so you can tell the range isn't quite as heavy as it was at the start of the session, so maybe a slight, you can just tell there's a slightly drier line appearing on the circuit. So it'll be interesting to see how the other runners go on the intermediates.
Well, I'm currently looking at Russman in the AlphaTauri, and he is the closest to the line on intermediates. I'm not quite sure. I believe this is a flying lap, but I might be incorrect on that one. But here we go. He's coming around the final corner now. Really attacks that corner, and just straight up to the line, keeping the fall all the way down. And he moves up to 9th, so it's an improvement, not by much though. And I'd imagine he'll go much quicker on his next lap. But as we have Steele out of the session, the Mercedes man, is that down start
corner again, I think. Yeah, looks like out of the last corner again. He's probably clipped the curb, and he's gone a long way down there.
Yes,
but again, it's not uncommon. It's not an uncommon place to go, especially in the wet. I mean, even in the dry, it can be a little bit tetchy.
Well, disaster for Steele there. He's going to go tumbling down the order on these with these drivers now on intermediate tyres. You know, the times are going to get so much quicker, even with just a few minutes left. But it's just trying to see who is where on track. We've got a right old mix at the moment, Jordan. There's so many cars on inters, so many cars on wet tyres. It's just going to be about who can find the sweet spot.
Right now, are you comfortable and happy to use those intermediates? Because if you're not comfortable, you won't extract the performance. It's just a case of picking the tyre that you feel the most comfortable on and trying the best you can, especially with these slightly changeable conditions between these two compounds, as it's vital to get it correct.
Absolutely. Russman is 2 seconds up on his lap now. We're going to see what he can do coming through the penultimate corner now. Just one corner to go, and it looks like this could take him top. Throttle all the way down once again, coming up to the line. Where's Russman going to go? It's pole position at the moment, and look at the gap, Jordan. It's absolutely huge.
Yeah, and there goes Towell into second place with a 35.7 in the Alfa Romeo. I was just on board Nitrogas because he came out of turn 9 through turn 10 and he spun it on his first flying lap on the set of intermediates. He just stayed on the curb, and naturally rear wheel spun up. The car didn't want to go anywhere other than sideways, as David now puts himself into second.
Yes, if you're an AlphaTauri fan, you'll be loving this at the moment. It's an AlphaTauri 1-2, and Russman's just gone purple in the first sector, so they're both absolutely flying at the moment as we reach the climax of this qualifying session. Just over 3 minutes to go. If you're liking what you're seeing, please remember to like and subscribe and share this video around as much as you want. But let's see who will snatch pole in the remaining minutes of round 2 of this season in F2. But Russman, purple middle sector, he's absolutely flying along, Jordan.
Just one thing, Wojtek has got a front left puncture in the Ferrari. He's just coming into the second to last corner.
Oh dear me!
I think he may have clipped the wall coming out of turn 13. There was yellow flags out for him. Although his time would suggest he's had it for quite a while, so maybe he picked up a cut from some debris from possibly even that last corner.
As Russman, look at that, 34 dead, should I say? I tell you what, if he was setting 13s, he would be absolutely flying. But it's a 34 dead, and that's 1.1 seconds clear of his teammate, who is actually coming around the final corner here. So, which AlphaTauri will be on top with 2 minutes to go? Here comes David coming up to the line now. Not quite quick enough. He's 4 tenths off. He improves by 7 tenths. But we've got an Alpine coming up to the line, actually. Is that F1 Richard? It is. and he goes all the way up to P3. So some drivers are still quite a way off Jordan. When you look at Richard there, he's 1.7 seconds off Russman.
Yeah, I mean, Russman, Nitro goes into second now with a 34.3. Russman last week, we know how quick he's in the wet from last week. He was going quite well until he spun out and hit the wall. So not a surprise that he's up there, but it just depends how they set the cars up, because bear in mind, if it's a dry race, you don't want to set the car up for Saturday, you want to set it up for Sunday. That's when you get points. So it could be interesting to see whether these guys are at the top of the time charts. Are they on a race setup or a qualifying setup?
Absolutely. Well, it's 1 minute to go. Unless we have a little timing glitch on our screens, the drivers need to get out there. We've got a couple of cars still sitting in the pits. But, well, who have we got coming up to the line? Not really many at the moment, but we have got an Alfa Romeo of Towley. Where can he put that car? He moves up to P4, just ahead of his teammate. Got an Alpine of Craig now coming to line. I'll try and get to him in time. Let's have a look. He's actually just starting a lap, I believe. But we've got times flying in, as you would imagine now, Jordan. And it's just, it could, oh, as Craig's out. Craig is out. He's just dropped it, and there we go. You can see on board with Ben Roberts. That is an almighty crash. And this is just going to be last person probably across the line. Jordan could be on pole.
And I think Ben has picked up a puncture in that Haas. I think he's probably collected some of the debris from Craig. So that will ruin his qualifying attempt. Just looking through, we've got a Ferrari, that is of Wojtek, who's invalidated his lap, so that's the end of his qualifying.
Louis as well.
Lewis. Yeah, Lewis is on his way up to the line, although I suggest he's not on a fast lap.
I think David is the other AlphaTauri is the one to watch here, Jordan. I think he is on an absolute flyer. He's 4 tenths up at the moment, and that could make it incredibly close. It's all down to this final sector if he can snatch pole from his teammate. The checker flag is well and truly out on our screens, so this could be it. David is on a flyer at the moment. He's only got a couple more corners to go, and it is neck and neck. Can he find the pace in these tricky conditions to pull off a stunning pole position right at the death here? Here comes David then, coming up to the line. Can he snatch pole from his teammate? He can! Look at that! By half a second, brilliant lap. And we'll see, can anyone beat that before they're all finished?
JSP up to the line. I think this is his first run on inters. What can he do? He's not going to be quick enough.
Only 8th.
Richard into the pits. Tina's optional. He is finished on a 34.578.
I think that might be it.
Nitro. Yeah, Nitro can't go any quicker. I think Ben's limping back to the pits right now with a front left puncture.
We've got Wojtek coming up to the line. It looks like he's invalidated his lap. And he's way off anyway. So I think I can confidently say David in the AlphaTauri is on pole with an AlphaTauri front row. How about that, Jordan? They'll be delighted with that.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic showing from the AlphaTauris. I mean, they were showing good pace at Interlagos. I mean, David picking up second place last week at Brazil. So he has got good pace, but great pace in the wet by the scenes of that AlphaTauri. It's just whether they can keep the guys behind. I mean, Nitrogash, who won last week, he's going to be a tough customer to keep behind. And it all depends on strategy, because round Australia, it's a really awkward strategy. You can either go mediums to hards, or you can try the mediums and softs route, but it all depends what the wear rate is. I mean, the front tyres, probably the biggest limiting factor around here. Through most of it.
Well, there you have it. There are your qualifying results. David on pole by half a second from his teammate, and like I said, Nitro Gash is in third. We'll see what he can do from there. He is still well and truly in with a chance of taking victory Towie as well in the Alfa Romeo. He's quite a way off himself and Nitro Gas, but you can kind of, if you're just in the mix at the start, at a circuit like this, if you can find yourself in the lead by the end of lap 1, you just never know. You could be in a fantastic position to win the race, because it is fairly difficult to overtake around this circuit, isn't it, Jordan?
It can be difficult. I mean, there are some good overtaking points in the fact of turn 1, turn 3 is also a good shout. Turn 9 is a bit of an not optimistic one, but definitely one to watch out for. And then you're into the likes of turn 13, and the penultimate corner at turn 15 is where you're most likely to see a few overtakes.
Absolutely. Well,
for the race.
Yeah, for sure. Well, get your predictions in. We'll try and see who you think will win this race. Predict your top 3. I'll tell you what. Do that, viewers. Let us know who you think will be on the podium in the correct order, and let's hope we have a fantastic race in store, as the drivers are now just picking the setups. But yes, this is brought to you by Nailcoat Hall and gridfinder.com. Make sure you check them out as soon as you have watched this fantastic race we hopefully have in store.
So whilst on that formation, I think I'll bring everyone up to speed with a quick recap of round 1. And Nitro Gas won with David in 2nd, Richard in 3rd. Wojtek did put it on pole position. However, he ended up with a drive-through and a 5-second time penalty. He finished 3rd on the road, got demoted to 4th. We've already said about Towel's Alpha being like a mobile phone. Lots of retirements due to changeable conditions. So very, very interesting. In terms of actually the Australian Grand Prix, I mean, Melbourne was built in 1953. The winner of the 1953 Grand Prix was Doug Whiteford in a Talbot Lago. Racing stopped at the street circuit in 1958 due to political pressure, and returned in 1996, basically taking the Australian Grand Prix back off of Adelaide at the time. In terms of most successful, on the current layout, Michael Schumacher has 4 wins, the most of anyone. And in terms of teams, McLaren and Ferrari both have 12 wins at the Australian Grand Prix. And there's roughly a 60% chance of a safety car, which could really mess up someone's strategy if they're not careful.
Absolutely. We are looking at, provided by AWS in-game, we are looking at a one-stopper, no matter what tyre you're starting on. But it is about that timing, Jordan. If you pit too early, you can kind of get caught out at the end, and if you pit too late, then you've probably got someone that's undercut you. So we will find out how this goes in round 2 of the IRL F2 division, as the drivers now approach the grid for the start of the Australian Grand Prix. Just having a quick look at the tyres. Louis is the only Louis and Osteven are the only drivers in the top 10 not on soft tyres, and we've got a couple of guys at the back on hard and medium tyres there as well. So we will see how their strategies play out in this 29-lap race around Albert Park, as we now await the lights ahead of the drivers. And here we go then. Here come the lights. 5 red lights in Australia. And it's lights out and away we go. It's a good start from Russman. He's already trying to get alongside his teammate. David tries to block him off, but he's also got a McLaren of Nitro Gas having a look as well. But look at that. What a start from Russman. He already takes the lead, but here comes his teammate. David goes straight back at him, and look at that. Russman is round. He's gone tumbling down the order. Looks like he's going to be in last place. An awful start for the AlphaTauri man. And a fantastic start for the Mercedes of I can't even say his name. Take over from me, Jordan. I can't say it. That's the one. And fantastic start.
In second.
Perfect start for him.
As they head into turn 6, you can just see Nitro Gas looking to stick with Zelko at the moment. He's got Tower behind him, Tinas in the Aston Martin behind. Russman, I think, very unlucky. I think he may have just clipped the wheel of his teammate, which sent his car around. But David, a lovely nearly 1 second gap already at the start of this race.
absolutely, he's had a flying start, but that Mercedes is keeping him occupied. As we've got two cars going wheel to wheel, the Aston Martin and the Alfa Romeo of Towley. Who is going to come out on top of this one? They're still going a little bit side by side there. There is the Aston Martin, but Wojtek also had a little look into that quick right-hander, but there's no chance he'll find an overtake there, as yes, David is still not quite being able to stretch out that gap. As you can see him trying to break the slipstream down the main straight momentarily there, as Nitro Gas as well is keeping the Mercedes busy. So it's a pretty clean start, apart from Russman, Jordan.
Yeah, very unfortunate actually for Russman as well, but biggest mover is Ben Roberts. He's up 6 places, up into 7th place in the Haas, on those hard compound tyres. So is he going to look to maybe go long and go soft at the end? Because if he's on the sticky tyres at the end of the race, that could prove to be a little bit of a mental plan, and he's getting himself up that order in the Haas. I'm just having a look at the gaps, and it looks like Nitro just sticking with Zelko at the moment. Still has already got a penalty. I think that is for speeding in the pit lane, as I believe he's already come in and made one pit stop.
Yes, and an interesting thing there, David did actually build a bit of a gap to Zelko there, but it immediately got wiped out really by the Mercedes man, because I think David had a bit of a moment, bit of a swapper through that quick S section, so he under a second, then he'll be just able to hang on. But look at that, David with a fast lap, and it's immediately beaten by the Aston Martin of Tinos.
DRS enabled then as we head on to lap 3. Because at this stage of the race, there's not going to be a lot of people really fighting. They're going to be close to each other, but at this point in time, they're all thinking, let's just get a few laps under the belt, not lose too much time to anyone, and potentially even try and work with a couple of people to get closer to those ahead. It won't be until probably nearer the pit stop window that we see a lot of moves for track position. But interesting though, Ben Roberts, the highest of the alternative compounds compared to the soft on those hard compounds.
Yes, he's losing a bit of time now though, that is the only issue, as Russman at the back is having quite a lot of issues in this race so far. But yes, Ben Roberts is now starting to hold up JSP in P7, because those hard tyres, I think they are, I mean, I know what you mean about him kind of clinging on, but once he's out of that DRS, there'll be a bit of a DRS train forming at the front. But
alright mate, Stan was having a look at Craig then, going into turn 13. The Alpine under significant pressure from the Williams, he's gone wide into the gravel trap. And that's Stan through up into 12th place, as Zelko puts in the fastest lap, followed by Wojtek putting in the fastest lap. And Craig into the pits, so maybe a touch of damage on the front wing.
Oh, and the McLaren of JSP has found a way past the Haas of Ben Roberts, but Ben Roberts might still try and come back, but he's not got that DRS. That was perfect timing from the McLaren man there, Jordan, because he just about got the move done in time, so then he could have DRS on the next straight. But we've got more cars going wheel to wheel, as Wojtek and oh, we've got the Aston Martin round of Tinos. He's spun it in that quick right-hander. I was saying about that in qualifying, and well, there's not much he can do there. He's just letting everyone go by, and oh, that's so painful, isn't it, Jordan? When that happens, you're just going to tumble down the order even more.
He's got to be careful, because obviously on this game you get side pod and underfloor damage, so he did clip the back end coming as he rejoined there on the wall, so hopefully he's not picked up too much damage, because that damage is not repairable in a pit stop. But Stan is on the back of O'Stephen right now, heading into the fast chicane of turn 11 and 12. He's going to look probably for a move into turn 13. DRS wide open. Yeah, he looks to the inside. Can't quite get the move done. So he's now looking to force an error, because it's quite hard really to get a move done before turn 1 from here.
Yes, he's looking and trying to find a way past. Hey, who's also trying to find a way past is Nitro Gas towards the front. We have got a yellow flag out. I believe that is for Craig at the back, but look at that. JSP finding another overtake there finding a way past Towley for P5. He is on the move, and well, it looks like a good race at the moment for McLaren, and they're both showing good signs of pace. But yes, Nitro Gash is right on the tail of Zelko in P2. Goes a bit wide there, just clips the grass there, and that could potentially open the door for Nitro Gash. It's not going to be close enough just at the moment, but he seems like he's got the pace, Jordan. Yeah,
Nitro, very quick driver in this tier, as they head again up to the turn 11-12 fast chicane. You'll be looking, that looked a little bit uncomfortable for the McLaren, but he gets away with it into the DRS zone, down to turn 13. Again, he's not going to be close enough, so he's just going to have to hang fire. And the thing is that even though he's in the dirty air, Zelko's still under a second behind David, which isn't helping Nitro, because he's also getting DRS in those crucial DRS zones.
Yes, and this is what I mean. This is the DRS train right here for you. He's just hanging on because he has that DRS off David. And, I mean, meanwhile, David is obviously in the vulnerable position here because he hasn't got any. And he's just towing everyone along, really, behind him. But there's definitely a gap, though, forming between Vojtek and JSP as we got a yellow flag, and that is Russman out of the session. And that is a full course safety car. Here we go. That is the first safety car of the race. Didn't take too long. Lap 6, and that is an almighty shunt into the wall. And what's going to happen here, Jordan? Is it too early for some of these soft tyre runners to pit, or is this a perfect opportunity?
Well, I mean, that depends on what sort of strategy you're going for and how long the safety car's going to stay out. I mean, it was estimated about lap 11 if you're going to go onto the hard tyre, so we're not... It's too far away. Whether you can stretch the hards out. So I think I can see a couple of people taking the gamble here. I mean, it's practically a free pit stop for those near the front, but again, you could lose out on track position, and round here, track position is quite key in terms of how much time you're going to lose when you do come in, because you can see that this little group headed by JSP, people might come out into that. You've also got the group led by Richard, which again might get involved. You come out in between those guys, you've got a lot of hard work on your hands.
And he comes in. David pits, and so too Zelko.
Nitro stays out.
Interesting, very interesting. His teammate JSP comes into the pits. He'll be delighted to see his teammate continue on, and Ben Roberts obviously stays out. He's on hard tyres, so everyone else is pretty much pulling in the pits apart from O'Stephen. And well, only 3 cars staying out. I'm not quite sure that's the right call from Nitro Gash, Jordan, because I think he could be... I mean, all the others around him have essentially got a free pit stop.
They have, but he has track position, and you've got Ben and O'Stephen ahead of the likes of David Zelko. And bear in mind, that pit window now, for every lap they do on a safety car, the pit window for the softs increases by that amount, so you can go longer. So this could work in his favour. I mean, JSP's gone on to another set of softs, so he's going for a 2-stop strategy there. But Nitro, if he can make those softs last now to possibly up to lap 14, lap 15 area now, there's a good chance he may go on to the medium compound for the end of the race. And he should pull a gap very realistically away from Ben and O'Stephen being on the softer compound. But I must say, Cam, look at the debut of the Aston Martin safety car in the Invictus Racing League. That came in this week.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful safety car that is. Which do you prefer, Jordan? Is it the Aston Martin or the Mercedes safety car? Or do you not really have a preference?
I think both of them are nice. I mean, I preferred it when the Mercedes was in its silver colour, not the red. But the Aston Martin, I mean, you can't deny it's just a lovely looking car, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's a shame we can't ride on board with it. But yes, the Aston Martin, you can see, good look at it there. On board with your new race leader, Nitro Gash, who, in case you just missed it, did stay out. He did not pit. We have got a safety car because of Russman crashing after an awful start to the race, really. But The key flashpoint so far was probably Russman himself and his teammate David going wheel to wheel into turn 1. A fantastic little scrap between the two drivers until Russman came off worse at this particular part of the circuit that we're at right now and found himself in the wall. But this safety car gives you viewers a perfect opportunity now to like and subscribe to the video, and please share it around to as many people as you want, and yeah, you can, I'm sure by subscribing you can catch many more and plenty more top races here at IRL on this brand new F121 game, which now has Portugal added. So what round of the season is Portugal? Do you know, Jordan?
At the moment, I think it's to be confirmed on Friday. They're having a driver vote on what track they'd like to replace currently. Just a quick thing as well, I mean, I'm just going through the detail bits. Ben Roberts up 11 positions at the moment. Obviously he still has to make a pit stop, so we'll see how that fares out for him. In terms of penalties, Ben Roberts and Lewis both have 3-second penalties for track infringements. It looks like Steele has served his 5-second penalty, has come back out on a set of soft tyres.
Well, I guess it's the perfect opportunity now. No matter what strategy he was on, he needed to get rid of that penalty, and what better time to do it than under the safety car, which I think we're going to get one more lap of, maybe. I don't think the pack's going to catch up in time, Jordan, so gives the viewers another lap of looking at the new Aston Martin safety car. But yeah, looking at the strategy then, so we've got Wojtek and Tailgate Richards, Louis, and can they go all the way to the end from here? I'm not too sure, but we will see.
Well, again, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, lap 11, 12 area was when it was predicted they would come in for hard tyres and the softs, so they're not too far away from that, and because of the safety car, they're only going to put probably one lap worth of wear on them. So they could stretch that out. I think it could be tight, but the key thing right now is how does David go, because David's on softs. He's gone a 2-stop strategy right now, as is the likes of JSP. He's also on a 2-stop. So David obviously thinking, you know what, I'm going to use the softer compound, try and get away from those on the hards, because they will no doubt be slower, and see how much of a gap he can build up, as will Nitro, but Nitro obviously on 8-lap old softs, probably only 5 racing laps on those realistically.
Well, I tell you what, Jordan, the restart is going to be absolutely critical for David here, because on those brand new fresh softs, obviously including JSP as well, but here we go, safety car into that. But yes, David, he's got to clear, especially O'Stephen and Ben Roberts, to make his race. Make that strategy work. He's got to clear those cars ASAP. The longer he's held behind them, and maybe even Nitro Gash, then that kind of just damages the whole plan with his strategy. But here we go then. Safety car, like I said, coming in this lap. Nitro Gash is following it quite closely at the moment, isn't he, Jordan?
Yeah, he's not really backed off, which says to me that he's not going to really bother going until the start-finish straight. Because obviously normally if you're going to go early, you want to let the safety car get in the pits, you're not allowed to overtake it. As we go racing once again. I'll let you take over, because I'm on board with David at the moment.
Oh, and look at that, yeah, David straight away trying to get that move done. Not quite into turn 1. I'm surprised how Nitro Gash restarted that. He didn't slow it up at all, as David has a bit of a swapper coming out of turn 2 there, and he's not going to be close enough, I don't think, to get past the Ferrari, so it's not gone to plan for the AlphaTauri man at this safety car restart, as even Ben Roberts is like closing the gap to Nitro Gash, so it makes you wonder if this is the correct call for the McLaren to stay out. But David is the man looking like on a move, but he can't find a way past. This circuit is difficult for overtaking, and Ben Roberts is really pressurising Nitro Gash at the front. who's not quite been able to get those tyres warmed up, it seems, Jordan.
No, I think they will come in though. But maybe it's just showing. Oh, that's a bad mistake for Ben Roberts. He's off into the wall. Luckily, he gets away without any terminal damage. But it was that dreaded curb on the outside.
Sorry to interrupt, David has got the move done. It was aggressive, but he's got it done. It was aggressive and brilliant. He's got that critical move done, and he's now up into second place. The yellow flag's still up. We've got an Aston Martin off as well. That is Tinus on those fresh soft tyres. He's made an awful mistake there, I believe, as Vodtech is side by side with Zelko as we approach turn 1. That's a better camera angle. They're still going wheel to wheel. Who's going to yield here? Neither are. And they've made a bit of contact. They're still making contact through there, and we're going to go free abreast here. Look at that, the McLaren on the grass. Incredible racing here as we approach turn 3. Who's going to yield? Neither of them. And the McLaren's gone straight on, and I don't even know where he's gone. He's disappeared, and he's spun round. Well, that's just gone pretty awful for him, hasn't it, Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, he had a great run out of turn 2 there because of the squabbling Zelko and Wojtek. He was looking on the outside. You just see all of them jostling for position. Zelko looking to get as far onto the outside of the track as he can without pushing Wojtek off, probably unaware that JSP was also there. And obviously, unfortunately, JSP running on the grass, dirty tyres, he's not going to stop too well and spins in the gravel. But Nitro has a 2-second gap up front right now, but being closed by David on those fresher softs. But I think Nitro is going to try and make this go long and go mediums.
I think you're absolutely spot on there, Jordan. I think that is exactly what he's doing, and I think if he gets passed by David, then that'll be when he pulls into the pits. The key for Nitro here is to just hold this lead, as DRS is now enabled. And look at that, David, fastest lap of the race. He is on a charge, and it's all about how long can Nitro, like you say, extend these tyres, but also keep David behind.
I mean, the other advantage Nitro has here is that David also has another pit stop to make, and it's almost a guarantee that Nitro will pit first. So as JSP retires, I think he's just come into the pits and retired, I think. So maybe a lot of damage on the car that we don't know about. But David still has to make that pit stop, and it's a guarantee that Nitro will pit first and have the undercut ability to his advantage.
Yes, and David now within DRS detection.
Still's in the wall.
Oh, dearie me, what on earth has happened there? He's gone straight on over the grass and into the barrier, and that is his tyre gone. That seemed a bit silly there. He didn't really make an attempt to avoid the wall, and that is another full course safety car, which is going to be beautiful news for Nitro Gash and Stephen, I would imagine, Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, it would not surprise me now for Nitro to come in the pits.
And he does. And so too does David, of course. Yeah, he has to, surely. So Stephen will as well.
But lots of track position about to be lost, though, to the likes of Zelko should take the lead from Wojtek. Towel should go through as well. Tinus has a 3-second time penalty for track infringements. And it's the, medium compound of tyre for Nitro, mediums for David. It's going to be hard compound for Stephen. Obviously, he started on the medium tyres. Richard goes on to the mediums. So that's the pit lane report, all caught up with. Lot of work for Nitro to do, but he should have that tyre advantage.
Yes, I mean, I do fear for those guys, to be honest, Nitro and David and the rest, because I feel you're looking at Zelko, who's leading out. It's only 6 laps, and I say only, obviously you want 6 laps in your favour, but I think he could make, I mean, the hard tyre runners can definitely make it to the end, so it's not going to be easy for them at all. I think they're in a really difficult position now to come fighting back through and try and win this race. There is still a long way to go, and there will most likely be another safety car in the remaining laps of this race. But I think Zelko is in a fantastic position now to go on and win this race because of the tyres he's on, Jordan, and you'd imagine he'd be able to go to the end.
I think it could be a lot tougher task for Zelko, because his mediums are 6 laps old. He had put them on in the first safety car, which means the advantage goes to Wojtek behind, because those mediums, they've still got another 16 laps to do, potentially under racing conditions, compared to the hard tyres. And this is where the advantage comes in for Nitro, because he's pitted late on the second safety car. 6 laps doesn't sound like a lot, but in the game where the wear is matched to the distance of the race, that can really be a massive advantage. Especially, he's doing laps now under safety car that are doing quarter lap wear to them.
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see as Ben Roberts is in the pits getting rid of them soft tyres. He's now on a fresh set of mediums, and have we got an Aston Martin start? No, he's spun. Tinos has spun at the penultimate corner. He's got going again, but the safety car, you'd imagine, will come in at the end of this lap. And it's just, I think it'll be a bit of survival for the top 7, really, because they know Nitro and David have the pace on them. They had quite a gap at that last safety car restart and until this safety car, and I think it's going to just be all about now these guys at the front just kind of hanging on, really, Jordan, because they know there's quicker cars behind them.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a bit of a battle. I mean, I still think those medium runners are going to struggle at the end of this race, that pitted on the first safety car. Possibly to the point where they might end up having to go in for a set of softs at the end. But we will see. I mean, we've seen miracle-like things happen in F1 before. I think we're going to get another lap of safety car.
Yeah, I think the guys at the back just haven't caught up in time. But we'll see.
I don't think it's necessarily that. I don't think I've seen the message. Sometimes the safety car will go sometimes, even if the back cars haven't caught up. And there is a late message from race control.
So here we go then, we're going to get
up.
Yeah, much different approach. And look at that, we've got 2 penalties there, David and Nitro, and I believe maybe Craig as well, picking up 5-second time penalties for collisions, and Zelko has gone. He's timed it to perfection. He's left the Ferrari of Wojtek right behind him, and we've got cars side by side just behind as well. I think that's the 2 Alfa Romeos. Got a Red Bull darting across the track, and look at that. Sir Spud absolutely flying through. And we've got cars off in the background as well. Someone's round. I think that might be Ben Roberts or David or someone like that. It's Ben Roberts. That's who it is. Ben Roberts is round. David's in the pits with front wing damage, so an awful restart for him. And there's more overtakes going on. That's Craig working his way up to 5th now. And, well, a bit of a frantic restart there, Jordan.
Yeah, I think the backing up of Zelko caught David by surprise, and he's gone into the back of Nitro. And obviously on this game, both cars take a 5-second penalty. I suspect Nitro's may get removed post-race because it wasn't his fault, but David obviously taking front wing damage and having to serve that 5 seconds in the pits for good measure. But good restart from Zelko, 1.4 up the road, but Stan isn't finished with Craig.
Tally off! Sorry to interrupt, I literally... that almost gave me a fright. I literally went on board with him and he was off and into the barrier, a high-speed crash, and that is him out of the race, and a spectacular crash there, right into the barrier. I do apologise, Jordan, I probably gave you a fright there, reacting like that.
I heard the thud in the background of the car I was watching. It sounded quite big. I mean, the question is, are we going to have another safety car? No, we're not. We're going to stay racing, which is good to see. I was just saying Stan wasn't finished with Craig, but he's dropped off the back of him. He's now got Lewis for company in the Alfa Romeo, and Ben Roberts on the back of Richard so far. Craig also possibly lining up a move for the Red Bull on Sir Spud as Wojtek now takes the lead.
Yeah, Wojtek's the lead. There's a mistake there, surely, from Zelko or something like that. because unless I've missed something there, he's been gapped as well, Jordan. Have I missed something there, or have you? Or
I reckon he's probably had. I wonder if he's run a bit wide through turn 3 into the gravel.
Ah, yes, that's probably a very good point. That can catch you out quite badly. Getting a bit too late on the brakes, but I mean, talk about disappointment for him. Had a fantastic restart, and he's completely thrown it all away. But he's still well and truly in this race. He has got the tyre advantage at the moment, but we've got cars going wheel to wheel.
Yeah, Craig down the inside to Sir Spud into turn 13. Lovely work from Craig so far. And you can see Stan off at red in the background again. A new driver tonight. He's looking down the inside. I think that's wide though from the Red Bull, and a spin.
Yes, unfortunate for him there, and he pulls straight into the pits, as you would imagine, with that broken front wing. I think he almost got a bit put off by the Williams, because I think he had a little look there. He didn't quite commit to it, and look at that, salt in the wounds, 5-second time penalty for spinning on the pit lane. But Craig has managed to hang on from those 2 attacks there, and a fantastic restart for him, I have to say. But a real shame there, Sir Spud getting that front wing damage, because he had a sensational safety car restart there, just like Craig. But these guys have been very much gapped to the top 2, I have to say, Jordan, as David says fast lap of the race.
Yeah, Craig's still under pressure from Stan, and Zelko nipping time away from Wojtek at the moment. We'll see that medium to hard compound difference at the moment, but you'd have to think Wojtek's going to have the advantage coming the later stages of this race. Obviously Nitrogash hasn't made the... I think he's actually... Yes, he has come in for another pit stop, so whether he's had a bit of damage or not, because he's now on a fresh set of mediums, which he wasn't earlier.
Yes, as Ben Roberts makes a swift pass on O. Stephen to move himself up into 5th place. But yeah, I'd imagine the Mercedes man will be absolutely furious with himself. It's been confirmed on the comments on the stream that he did indeed run wide and just touch the gravel, and that he's going to be wanting desperately to take back that lead. But Wojtek will... I'd imagine he's not going to give it back easily, because now leading the race on hard tyres, if he can just keep it nice and clean to the end, and we've got a car off. That is Louis. Lewis is off.
Yeah,
and that is a safety car.
I was watching Lewis and Richard were battling into turn 1, and didn't quite see the whole event, but I would say probably contact between the two, probably putting Lewis into the wall. There he is, as the safety car just goes through.
Yeah, so there's a long way for the drivers to pick up this safety car, so I imagine it's going to stay out for a good number of laps, because the field is incredibly spread out.
The hard runners, surely now, everyone's in the pits. Medium compounded tyre, surely.
Yeah,
possibly even the softs, because the lighter fuel load.
Well, I'm looking at someone like David here, and this has saved his race. Nitro Gash as well. Them two guys are going to be able to claw themselves right back up. But will they? I mean, Nitro Gash won't have to pit again. I know that. Maybe even Ben Roberts. Maybe. And
Zelko comes in the pits. Craig in the pits. Stan in the pits. Ben's into the pits. Both Ferraris have stayed out. Richard is staying out on his mediums. I would suspect David would come in for a fresh set of boots. Why not? He's got a free pit stop there.
Interesting. So, and David is not quite there yet. So that could work for the two Ferraris, because they've got a car in between them to the rest. Zelko's gone on the soft tyres now. It's obviously a gamble, but it's a gamble you trust in taking. As David,
I think it's a smart move. I think that's a very smart move from Zelko, because they were predicted lap 10 earlier on the soft compound at the start of the race. They've got lighter fuel load now, so the tyres will last slightly longer. So that, I think, that could be a race-winning strategy call there from the Mercedes team, to put Zelko on that soft compounded tyre right now. David did come in the pits, but he's put some medium compounded tyres on, possibly because that's all he had left as a new set.
Yeah, which yeah, you're right. He's just had to do. But this is going to be thrilling stuff, Jordan. These guys at the front, they've got to hang on. We're going to be guaranteed overtaking here, you'd imagine, because these guys at the front are on the slower tyres and the more older tyres as well, especially Wojtek, and he's just going to have to cling on for dear life. You'd imagine his teammate, Steven, could try and help him out here. Jordan, what do you reckon? We're going to have less than 10 laps to go by the time the safety car comes in. Do you think there could be a bit of team play in act here? Because they're going to be worried about that Mercedes of Zelko.
There's potential, but I think this early in the season you can't really implement that right now. I think Wojtek has the pace over O'Steven, but he's got 6 lap older tyres.
Yeah,
Wojtek's been on those tyres for 12 laps. I mean, a number of those, as we know, have been under safety car, but he has had some racing laps on those tyres already.
Yes, this is going to be very interesting, Jordan. It's going to be fascinating to see, because like you say, O'Steven technically should have the quicker car right now because of those tyres. But can he make it count? Can he make it count? And what will happen between the two Ferrari teammates? I mean, you know, do they want to risk taking each other off by attacking at this safety car restart? We're going to find out pretty damn soon. We'll see what happens with the safety car if it stays out for another lap. I think these front runners want it to stay out for another lap, Jordan, because they just want as little laps as possible for the chasing pack behind.
Yeah, I mean, they have got the advantage of Richard being in third. I mean, he's on the mediums, which will put a bit of a greater fight than the hards will, compared to the soft compound of Zelko. But I think once Zelko's released from Richard, you have to think the Ferrari, say, worn those older hard compound tyre. I mean, that's a large difference in pace as well. I'm very surprised that Wojtek didn't come in for a set of softs. I'm very surprised.
I guess it's just an element of wanting to keep that lead. Once you're in the lead, you just do not want to risk throwing it away. But by staying out, you're right. He could make himself incredibly vulnerable here, but it's not long until we're going to find out. Will the safety car come in this lap? We're going to find out in the matter of a couple of seconds. And there we go. It is coming in this lap. And here we go then, folks. Round 2 of the season, but this is already going to be pretty interesting stuff between teammates. What does O'Steven do, and can Wojtek hang on till the end? We've not got long to go. It's going to be a dash to the line. Let us know in the comments who's going to win this one from here on in. But he's keeping very close to the safety car, and well, there we go. Ooh, he's not quite gone for it yet. He's speeding up. He's quite slow, but he's gone for it now. So an interesting strategy, making that restart there. His teammate O'Steven is getting very close, going into turn 1. Not quite close enough yet, though, to make a move. He just almost touches the grass there. And I wonder if Richard can have a little look going into turn 3. He's not quite close enough, and we've got a car round, and that is Craig. Oh my days, he's off. And Zelko's got a penalty for corner cutting. And Ben Roberts is getting spun around as well. So he's going to lose his opportunity of any decent points. But they're still very close. And look at that, Zelko right on the tail of Richard. And he's going to try and look and find a way past into this next corner. Surely he's going to make this move pretty damn quickly. But not quite yet. He's going to have to just wait a couple of more corners, Jordan.
Yeah, Zelko taking 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. I'm not exactly sure why. Ben Roberts just clipped the back of the Mercedes, which is why he went round at turn 4. And O'Steven being a bit of a bottleneck. David also obviously out of the Grand Prix. So we're going to be left with 9 runners so far. So everyone who finishes now scores points.
Absolutely, and look at this, Zelko up the inside. Ooh, he didn't quite commit to it, and the gap was there to have a look at making the pass on Richard, but he's going to get a fantastic exit now, and in the slipstream of the Alpine. Can he get the move done into turn 1? They're going to go wheel to wheel, the Mercedes and the Alpine, and he's got it done. A brilliant move obviously on the much quicker tyres, but he's got clear daylight between him and the Ferraris now. He's going to hunt them down in the final remaining laps. Don't go anywhere. This is going to get pretty frantic.
Yeah, you see he's already on the back of O'Stephen, going through 3 and 4. Into 5, he should have superior grip through here. Yes, he does. Absolutely flat to the boards. Into 6, 7 and 8.
Whoa.
You can just see the grip, the traction. Oh, that's a bit of a wiggle from O'Stephen. We're still alongside. How has O'Stephen kept around there? But that should be that. Yes, it is. And Zelko moves himself up to second, and he's now only got 2.6 to get to Wojtek. Probably Wojtek was expecting O'Stephen and Richard to keep Zelko behind him just that little bit longer than a lap.
Absolutely, and here comes the Williams now of Fishy Red, looking around the outside, can't find a way past Richard there, and he's got so much more pace on these fresher mediums, but he still cannot find a way past as Nitro is also getting pretty interested as well. But like you say, yeah, Zelko now is going to just be hunting down Wojtek, but DRS now enabled, so that'll make it a bit easier for him if he can get close enough. But he has got loads of penalties though, Jordan, so we're going to see what happens if he will get it removed. And he'll also not be able to get rid of that corner cutting penalty, so he's got to build a gap if he gets ahead of the Ferrari.
Yeah, I'd say he needs at least 3 seconds if he can prove that his yellow flag infringement was incorrect, because that was 5 seconds worth. So he needs at least 3 seconds. He's 1.7 behind Wojtek at the moment. I'm just on board Nitro Gas, because it's about the closest battle on circuit at the moment between Stan and Richard, up ahead of him. Yeah, Stan really looking all over the back of the Alpine, trying to find some form of gap. I would say though, because looking at his telemetry data, which you can't use, he's not using much of his overtake mode in places you'd think he'd use it to gain the advantage out of the slower corners. He goes a little bit wide through the flash chicane.
Ooh, we've got cars side by side actually, just right behind these two, and that's Ben Roberts. He's found a way past, and Nitro would be fuming about that, because he was right on the tail of Stan in the Williams, and he's completely left. Oh, and look at that, Ben Roberts having a little too much of a look up the inside, and he's got himself in a bit of a half spin there, and loses a whole bunch of time to that pack, and the opportunity of a top 5 finish, you'd imagine, is completely gone. But the opportunity of a win for Zelko is getting increasingly more likely, Jordan, because he's now within a second of the race leader.
Yeah, inside DRS range. Stan still looking at the back of the Alpine, almost going into the back of it, going into turn 3. A little bit silly that from Ben, in my opinion. He's looking for a gap that was always going to close. Unfortunately, he paid the price. But Stan still top 5. Still not out of the question for Ben Roberts either, because Stan and Richard are really holding each other up, having this scrap. But I think they are actually starting to catch O'Stephen a little bit as well.
Absolutely.
So this could become a fight for podium.
Yeah, this could get very tasty indeed, and well, they are very much indeed catching O'Stephen,
because he's in DRS range now, going into turn 13. He's gonna.
Something's happened to O'Stephen. Sorry to interrupt you there. He's absolutely tumbling down the order. I think he's had an almighty moment. And look at the McLaren of Nitro up the inside. God, how on earth that didn't end up in a crash, I do not know. They're almost going 3 wide into this corner. Incredible stuff. And the Williams of Stan hangs around the outside, and Ben Roberts is coming right back into this as well. So how on earth there was no major crash there between those guys, as Zelko is getting ever more closer to Wojtek for the lead, and this could be the chance now. He's got a fantastic exit out of turn 1, riding on board with him. DRS now on the Ferrari. Is he going to be close enough to try and move? Not yet, but you'd imagine the next time he comes down that straight he will have him. Here comes Stan now in the Williams, up the inside on the Alpine, and he should have the move done, and he has. He finally gets ahead of Richard, who makes contact with Nitro. And here comes the Ferrari of O'Stevens back through as well. Incredible racing for this final podium spot. And O'Stevens now goes off the track, and Nitro is back through, and Ben Roberts. Amazing stuff. And look at that, they're off. Oh dearie me, Steven gets his braking completely wrong, and I've got to cut to the lead because Zelko, he's right on the tail of Wojtek, and he's not quite close enough just at the moment, but unbelievable stuff there, Jordan. I didn't know what to keep up with there.
I'll give you a little bit of a breather now, because Zelko all over the back of Wojtek in the final sector. You're going to have to think he's going to have DRS down the main straight. And if you can just stick with him, get the traction out of turn 16. He's half a second there, but look at the traction. A lot of time gain just in the traction zone. DRS wide open. He's not using any overtake, looking to just use pure DRS. I mean, he's got 2 bites of the cherry here because it's the second DRS zone after turn 2. Maybe he wants to finish it into turn 3. 1/10. He is alongside. Down to turn 3, easy move on the soft compound tyre with DRS, and you have to feel that is the race win secured as long as he keeps it on the tarmac.
Yeah, now is potentially the hard part. He's got to get that 3-second gap, and in just about 3.5 laps left of this amazing Australian Grand Prix in the final few laps here. It's came alive in terms of the battle for the podium spot. Maybe not anymore though, because Stan in the Williams has built a bit of a gap up to Nitro, but what a lap that was last time around. An amazing, almost 5-way fight for that 3rd place, but the gaps have formed quite a bit now, and it's all eyes on the battle for the race win, you have to say, John, because we know if he can get it, like we've said, to a minimum of 3 seconds, then he's got this race win in the bag. But Wojtek will know that. He'll know that that 5-second time penalty could be in doubt.
Well, I don't think Wojtek will. The drivers will still work on the basis of he's got an 8-second penalty, because they won't necessarily know what they've got it for. It depends what their HUD options are.
Yeah.
So Zelko just needs to really go like a bat out of hell here. He needs to get going, and he's not doing that. He cannot break that 7/10 gap. And Wojtek, if he just stays in DRS, it won't matter if his 5-second yellow flag infringement gets taken off. If he's within 3 seconds, there's no chance Zelko's going to win this race.
Absolutely, and I wonder if Zelko's soft tyres are starting to lose their pace advantage now on Wojtek's tyres. I know his tyres are 20 laps old, but they are hard tyres. They do seem to go on forever. And those soft tyres, you do wonder now, are they just reaching the cliff, the drop-off point in terms of max grip? You can just see through the S section, he's way more hesitant. Oh, and he's on the grass. And that is a critical error there from the race leader on track, because he lost so much time to the Ferrari of Wojtek. And as Nitro picks up a 3-second time penalty, but I would probably say now that could be the race win potentially gone for Zelko, Jordan.
Yeah, a little bit of a weird mistake, especially on this sort of compound. Again, not necessarily uncommon around there. You just turn in a little bit too. It's enough. Oh, he's off. Oh, he's done. Oh no, it's. My screen catching up, so there's a bit of lag in that.
It's alright.
I was going to say. That's a bit of a weird. He's almost like pulled off like he's got an engine issue. But Wojtek only 3/10 behind now. I mean, that Ferrari handling its tyres well. But I was going to say, before Nitro picked up his 3-second penalty, that Stan in third did also have a 3-second time penalty, so all he had to do was stay within that time frame, but that's now changed with Nitro's penalty there. A little bit of an interesting thing, position change. Stan, the highest so far, he's up 12 positions in third, with Sir Spud up 10. So Stan looking like he might get driver of the day from the game for that.
Yeah, a fantastic drive from him, and a fantastic drive from most of the drivers tonight. They have produced a pretty stunning race, as we are now on the penultimate lap and about to start the final lap. In terms of the fastest lap, that is actually belongs to David, who is out of the race, and I'd be stunned if, well, no one's surely going to beat that now. But yeah, it's looking like we might not have any position changes on this last lap. However, Wojciech has lost quite a bit of time in the last few corners, Jordan, so this could potentially get quite close towards the end of this lap.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be Wojciech making sure he doesn't go round. I mean, he knows he's got the pace to stick. I mean, he's not going to lose a second from 2/3 of the lap, you wouldn't have thought, unless there's a small mistake.
Yeah.
One thing I would say, though, is Ben Roberts, although he's got a penalty attached, he is getting onto the back of Sir Spud. So that we might have an overtake there, which would be on track, but not necessarily in the end for a position based on penalties.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, this is getting a little bit close here. For a moment there, it was to 2.4 seconds. He's managed to claw back 2 attempts through that S section there, so he should be okay. But I do believe Zelko is absolutely pushing like mad on this final lap, and it is indeed the final lap. We're around the penultimate corner there, and Zelko's gone wide onto the grass, and so that is it, nail in the coffin right there. But here comes Zelko around the final corner on track. He's going to win this race, but Wojciech wins in the Ferrari after penalties for Zelko. A fantastic drive from Dan in the Williams, picks up a podium. A brilliant finish from him, and driver of the day surely, climbing up all those positions. Nitro in P4. Richard manages to finish on track ahead of Ben Roberts in the end, so he didn't get past, but Ben Roberts is actually tumbled down behind Sir Spud, who is 6th, Ben Roberts in 7th, O Stephen in 8th, and we are now just waiting on the Aston Martin of Tinus for P9. But plenty of DNFs, but plenty of frantic action and thrilling racing, and yeah, I believe we're then going to hear from the drivers after the race result, and it'll be very interesting, Jordan, to hear what they have to say.
Yeah, once again, another safety car-filled race. I mean, F3 providing some incredible action, a few minor crashes, and Stan does get confirmed driver of the day by the game. We are going to have the Podium Interviews press conference, so it will be very interesting.
Yes. Well, there is your podium right there, and well, a great result for Ferrari. I mean, they didn't quite get that 1-2 in the end. It would have taken a bit of a miracle, I think, for O. Stephen to hang on to that P2. But they'll be certainly very happy with that. And plenty of points in the bag for them. And there are your final race results. So penalties costing Zelko at the end there. He is denied victory as Wojciech picks it up from P11 on the grid. I mean, who knows, you know, if there is a vote, I would probably give it to Wojciech coming from P11 to win the race. But we'll see about that as Stan picks up the podium in 3rd with, like I said, Nitro in 4th, F1 Richard in 5th, Sir Spud in 6th, Ben Roberts in 7th, O. Stephen in 8th, and Tinus rounding us off for the finishes in P9. David picks up the fast lap, but he didn't make the end of the race. Fast lap and pole position. So he had the pace, but couldn't quite finish the race. And we are now joined by Wojciech. Can you hear me? We are joined by Stan as well. We'll start with the race winner. If he can hear me, we will give him a few moments just to see. Get your comments in on the stream if you have any questions for the race winner, and I shall fire them away at him. But I'm just waiting to see if he can hear me. Alright, if I can hear him.
I think he's having technical troubles with his microphone at the moment. I believe he's using the app.
Yeah, sorry guys, I'm here.
That's
If you can
okay.
hear me now.
Congratulations. Well done. Fantastic victory there. And what was going through your mind towards the end of that race? Did you know about the 3 second kind of penalty gap that you needed to kind of cling on to? Avoiding getting further behind on that, about like the potential of him losing that 5 second penalty, or was it just flat out to the finish?
It wasn't flat out throughout the race because since I was practicing the Australia is there are some deadly curbs and it costs the race for a lot of guys, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the last part of the race was really I was hoping that it was a Mercedes behind me. I was hoping that he won't run away from me. I just hope I hope that I will be able to stay with him, which I made it somehow. I don't know how. And really, the last few laps was just not flat out, not really, just trying to stay in the gap, in the penalty gap, and just not to pick up any penalties, which I made it. So yeah, good race though.
Well, very well done. You managed the kind of pressure there at the end very well. Did you think his tyres were starting to go off at the end, being on those softs, or did you notice that he was kind of losing a bit of pace and consistency towards the end, or were you literally just full on focus on your own race?
Yeah, I saw the Merc just having few troubles in some turns, just few times oversteer. So perhaps yeah, he was maybe the best of the tires was gone at the very last laps. But yeah, as you said, I mainly focus on my race because uh, that's the difference between this one and the Australia and for example the Brazil last week, because they at Australia there are a lot of turns in high speed and the curbs can catch you really easy. So I really focused on the just getting every turn good and just stay with the Mercedes.
No, well done. It was great to hear that fantastic insight from you. Jordan, have you got any questions for the race winner?
Yeah, I mean, I got one. I mean, obviously, that final safety car, you're on the hard tyres. What was the reason for not going in for softs? Is it a case that you didn't have any left, or was it just part of your plan that you decided that you preferred racing on those hard compounds? Because I would have said it was the right time to go in for the softs, being 10, 11 laps from the end with lower fuel.
Yeah, I guess for me that was the part of the race I thought, okay, this was a bad choice because everyone behind me just go to the pits, and just like like 2 seconds the penultimate corner, the 2 seconds between before I should dive or not dive into the pits, I was like just checking on the tires and they were like 10%. So I say, okay, that's pretty good. So perhaps I will keep the track position. I just gamble and took everything on the track position instead of going to the pit for a fresh set. So I was like, okay, there will be some 2 or 3 laps behind safety car, which won't cost the tires too much, and then I will make it somehow. And but I really thought that that was the mistake at the point.
Wow, thank you very much for that. And I don't believe we are joined by the second place man, unless I am mistaken. Do you know, Jordan, if he managed to
He's
find a
not
way?
in the party, I'm afraid, so we'll have to move on to Stan in third.
Yes, Stan, talk to us about your race. You found yourself in quite a battle there at the end, didn't you? With a load of other drivers. Was it all about just keeping your nose clean at the end there? Mm. Yeah, I bet you were punching in the air when you saw the McLaren of Nitro picked up that penalty of just relief.
Sorry, Stan, you might need to turn your mic up a little bit. You're a little bit quiet, I think.
That's better.
Yes, yeah.
Any questions for Stan? Oh, sorry, go on. Sorry, I do apologise. Carry on, Stan. Mm. Ah, I see. Oh, and we are actually joined now by Zelko in the party, the second place man, who actually won the track on the won the race, sorry, on track. But can you hear me, Zelko? Very nice. I'm good. What about yourself? Talk to us about the end of that race, Zelko. Oh, really? All right. And how was that at the end? Ah, I see. Apparently, unfortunately, Zelko, I think your voice might not be getting shared, and I think that might be the same for Stan as well. So I think it's just in the, if you press the share button and go to the options, I think it should be ticked, if that's okay. But what were you thinking at the end of that race, Zelko? Did you think you could maybe build a gap and then maybe see if you could get that 5-second time penalty taken off, or were the tyres too gone by the end of that race? Mm. Yep. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, no, I did, but did you think, yeah, so it was more of a plan to go onto the mediums at that last pit stop, but was it your mistake by just putting on the softs instead of, was it the game that decided it, or? Ah, I see. Ah. Well, yeah. Well, you still managed to pick up P2, so still some good points in the bag. But Jordan, have you got any questions for the second place man?
No, I think you covered everything I was going to ask. So good,
Nice, no worries.
good job
Well,
on that, and congrats to you.
that's all right. Well done, podium drivers. Fantastic stuff from you. And yeah, that is that for round 2 of the season. Make sure you subscribe to the IRL YouTube channel and like this video. And I've been CJH87, and joined by Jordan. Thank you very much, Jordan, for joining me. And yeah, that is that.
Pleasure as always.
No worries. We'll see you next week.